So let's talk about the components of opening a wellness center. We talked about getting to your why. That leads to your values and your mission. And that is so important. That's what's going to help people buy into the concept, want to be a part of it as an employee and as a client. Now, why is that so important? According to iSpa, on average, there's between 21 to 22,000 spa and wellness locations in the US alone. So if you don't know your vision and your mission, your why, and what makes you unique, you're going to drown in the pool that is the industry. It's a low entry level. So, I mean, the word spa is loose. So if you have one room, like the My Salon Suites and places, that in many cases is considered to be a spa or a wellness center, depending on how they marketed it, how they packaged it, what services they are offering. Understanding that you are going to be competing in that same space with people who have one room and people who have 8 rooms and locations that have 8 locations, right? So really taking the time to get crystal clear. I know it says 31 days, but there was no real thought that you would actually do this process in 31 days. It's just to kind of give you a guideline for the steps that need to happen. And sometimes those can be completed in hours, but other times it's days, weeks, months that this needs to happen. But it needs to be thorough, it needs to be intentional, it needs to be well thought out so that it can be well executed. So how do you start that? Where do you even begin with, I want to open a wellness center, and, where do I go from there? I'm a huge proponent of this idea of a SWOT analysis. Now, a lot of times with the SWOT analysis, we think exclusively of businesses. So SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So opportunity is external, weakness is internal. What is it with you? And then you have opportunity and threat. Strength is also internal. Threat is external. So what you really want to start with and spend your time with are those internal factors. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses as a leader, as a business owner, in understanding this industry? A lot of people come into this industry, and I've been in it for over 20 years with, oh my God, I love the spa, I love wellness, I want to go open a location because it's so peaceful, it's so tranquil, all of the things that is going to draw consumers in and what you would expect. That's not necessarily how it runs behind the scenes. It is chaotic, it is hectic, it is stressful, and in some locations, it is a toxic environment, which you would never think about in the spa and wellness industry. So really sitting down with that SWOT analysis of yourself. What is your strength? What is your weakness? Spend hours, spend days, spend some time with that. That will then help you get to, okay, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses. And if you say you don't have any weaknesses, that's a whole nother conversation because none of us are perfect. We all have weaknesses. Being able to identify it and plan for it is key. So perfect example for me. My strength, I've been an educator again for over 20 years, is I can take things that are really complex, make them simple, approachable, digestible, and applicable. Have to. If you're teaching up here and your students are down here, you're doing a disservice to them, right? So I know my strength is definitely taking it, making it, giving it away, similar to these videos. My weakness, I have a couple because I self-actualize and I understand. One, I hate paper, right? So I love the digital age of everything's online. I can grade papers, I can communicate. I'm not running around with stacks of papers, right? 2, I am an ideation person. I'm an idea person. I have 50 million things that I'm working on at one time, which means I'm not always as detailed oriented as I need to be. I'm definitely goal oriented, and have the timeline and the deadlines. But it really is when you get into the weeds of it that I find that I need support. And I find people who are detailed oriented to be able to support me, right? So this is why it's so key to understand what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, because then you can take that information and assess, okay, here are my opportunities in the industry. And one of your biggest opportunities is going to be the industry, the wellness sector is projected to generate $9 trillion by 2028. That's not that far in the future, which means people are going to be continuing to seek those wellness services and experiences. So it's prime time to look at opening a wellness center, but it cannot be just another run of the mill experience, blab, drab, basic. That's out the window. We have different demographics that we are catering to, who want to be razzled and dazzled, who want something different and unique. Not fully Vegas lifestyle, right? But one of the things, as someone who lives in Vegas and has been traveling here for a long time, is every time you come to Vegas, there's something new. And one of my mantras is see what the big dogs are doing and how can you borrow that and incorporate it into what you're doing? Because they have the research dollars, the marketing budget, all of those different things that most small businesses do not have. So look to the leaders in the industry and see what they're doing. Las Vegas is hospitality. Spa and wellness is hospitality. It falls under that umbrella, believe it or not. So you want to have them coming back. You want to make sure that you have those main staples that are consistently there. Bellagio Fountain, Stratosphere, but you also want to have those new things that people can come and enjoy. New hotels, new experiences, new sporting teams. And I feel like every week there's something new. So you have your staples, but then those customers, those consumers, when they come back, there's something new and unique and different for them to try. And let me say this to you. You can't just cater to one set of demographics because it varies. So right now, Gen X women control the wealth in the industry. But millennials really do spend the most when it comes to spa and wellness. And they are definitely into the experience, a quick experience. Can I post it on social media? What is the level of engagement? So thinking about how do you create these experiences, these wellness experiences that will be able to cross over generational differences. Again, those are going to be things that you can't resolve in minutes or hours. That might take days or weeks. You look at the PT Cruiser, I'm dating myself right now, but the PT Cruiser was designed for millennials. They thought it was going to really reach them and make that happen. But it was boomers because it reminded them of the Model T. You could look at Tide and those Tide pods, right? The laundry detergent pods. Those were designed for apartment dwellers, right? Because you can take a couple out, throw it into the laundry, go down to the basement and do your laundry. They never thought about homeowners jumping on this bandwagon. So they had to repackage it and put sealants and locks on it because they hadn't factored in parents and kids thinking it was candy and eating it. So understanding that you can design it with one generation in mind, and it totally go left or right. So what I would say is have a mass appeal. Have it so that men, women, parents, teenagers, boomers, Gen X are all interested in your location. That takes thought, that takes intention, and that takes time. So take your time, work on that mission statement, work on those values, sit down with that SWOT analysis, And then we'll come back and continue to work through it on some of the things that you can do to really create a unique experience within your wellness center and create that longevity and revenue. Until next time, be well.